Welcome to this Lee Kuan Yew School Benefactors Lunch, and thank you all for being here. The first purpose is that revealed in the name. It is to thank all our friends and benefactors who've stood by the school and continue to do so. This is to get everyone in the community to know one another, to introduce or reintroduce you to our members of the academic faculty, for them to maybe spend a few minutes telling you, sharing with you the exciting things that they are doing that are helpful for this troubled world that we are all having to navigate.
I would like to start by thanking all of you for your very generous donations to NUS and to the Lee Kuan Yew School. The title of our fireside chat today is Geopolitics and Economic Prosperity, Where Do We Go From Here? A very, very interesting and very, very timely topic today.
It's easy enough, I think, to point at Trump and America. But I think that the rest of the world has to accept quite a lot of the blame. And in that sense, I would do a kind of a gentle defense of Trump and America. America will pay any price, bear any burden. And it will do so by indulging its allies and other countries all around the world, both economically after 1945, willing to accept unequal terms of trade in a sense. Of course, America benefited from its indulgence economically and in security terms of its allies. But I think the fact is that there were intimations of the problems that grew in America and that have led up to this. And in a sense, we're paying the price for that now. Related to that, then, what has been overturned by Trump? And so I think what's been overturned is the liberal international order, which had four components: a US alliance system, globalization, multilateralism and rule-based interactions between states and other entities, and democracy as a kind of aspirational value, a primary value that America and Europe would drive in within countries and between countries. What's happened in 3 months with Trump is that all four have pretty much disappeared or collapsed. This has been a generational change. So let me end with the issue of what next or what to do, especially for Southeast Asia. I mean, the first is to keep lines open in this new world. And that means 2 or 3 things. First of all, I think Asia quite wisely, except for China, has decided not to retaliate against the US and to try and cut a deal on tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Everyone will have some strategic areas where they will maintain tariffs and NTBs, and I think that's the difficulty ahead of identifying those as much, well, in collaboration with the Americans. And it's a complicated algorithm. If the Americans are going to go back to their hemisphere and essentially give up on a set of rules, then the possibility is that Singapore and others work with these very big entities, the European Union, China, Japan, India, South Korea, and so on, to forge the new norms. The third is diversify into markets that Southeast Asia is not very prominent in: Africa, the Gulf, Latin America, perhaps. And the second broad point, I think, has already been articulated publicly, which is to strengthen ASEAN. Its trade and economic links, and of course its diplomatic links. We've got to get our house in order on tariffs, non-tariff barriers, and other things that get in the way of free trade. And this is an opportunity to do it.
There are problems with the way that globalization is for our countries. There are problems with the trading system, and this is a good time to fix the problem.
The time is past now for everyone thinking that the world needs leadership of the kind that we look to in any one nation or in any one group of nations. I want to make 3 points. First is that there was a reason that the world came to be the way it was before the current chaos. There were incentives and political dynamics and economic ideas that led us to that world, And we all benefited from it. We were inadvertently advantaged by the way geopolitics played out. And in that first stage, geopolitics and economics aligned. Multilateralism gave us a level playing field so that even if you were a small emerging country, you dealt with big ones on equal terms. Globalization gave us markets that provided the elastic demand so that when we produced, we were never accused of overcapacity, the way China today is. When we produced, the world was ready to buy what it took from us because that was the system that was built by the Americans. America, after the 1950s, after the Cold War, saw that the Soviet Union, its ideological rival, did not abide by open markets and free trade. It was for America to advocate open markets and free trade because that showed the Soviets how their system didn't work, but ours did. And we all benefited from it. That multilateral system is what brought all of us, a billion people, out of poverty in the last quarter of a century. So my second point, therefore, is why the system broke down. America bore the cost of building the globalized multilateral world, and it willingly did that because it was dealing with an enemy against which this was protection. That's no longer the case. America has its issues, and it's quite easy for America to blame its domestic issues on the open multilateral system. It calls that the China shock. Trade has now changed its story, and we need a new story for trade. What can we do? The first suggestion is, let's not mistake competition between nations and governments for competition and antagonism between people. And the way we do that is to continue doing business as much as we can. Do not let the geopolitics enter that. Second, we know we don't want to choose between the two great powers, but I want to suggest to you, thinking about this not as a choice between America and China, but a choice between accommodating a demand shock and living with a supply shock. Let's look for platforms where even when the world continues to disagree, because the world has broken down in the way it has, the world continues to disagree, we can still have inadvertent cooperation.
Meaning that you can actually innovate on so many areas at the regional level because the cost at the regional level is going to be so much lower than the cost at the global level. So these are the things that we can draw on to build the new global system on. I think ASEAN experience has a lot to offer. With that, let me thank all of you for all the wonderful questions. I want to thank our speakers for talking about geopolitics, geoeconomics. It's just very wide-ranging and coming up with all these good ideas and how we should navigate the world ahead. So this is, what academics can do, fresh ideas, fresh solutions, thinking out of the box about the challenges that we have ahead of us. Thank you.